Hi, this is Casey Hall with Thomson Reuters, and today we're going to talk about reputation management in social media. According to the London School of Economics, a 2% reduction in negative word of mouth translates into a 1% increase in sales. So when we think about this in terms of social media, it's sometimes hard to figure out, how we're adding value with social media, but I think this is a really great example of how just by improving our own or your company's or your client's reputation in social media through word of mouth, you can really translate that fairly directly into some positive ROI that you can demonstrate. So I think when we think about reputation management, a lot of times, when I think about it anyway, one of the first things I think about is the crisis, right? So either something has gone wrong in social media or something has gone wrong in some other way in our company. And because of that, there's a big storm in social media and we have to figure out how we're going to respond to that. And that is a huge piece of it that we're going to talk about at the end of the video. But I think the key to reputation management is really what you do on a day-to-day basis. So how are you engaging with customers? You really don't want the first time that your customers see you being engaged with them on social media is that time when something horrible just happened, right? You want to have a great relationship with them all the time. So you want to be responsive. So anytime people reach out to you, you want to be authentic, you want to be honest, and you want to be very engaged. And if you develop that goodwill early on, that is going to do so much more for your reputation. I mean, you have to handle the crisis, but by being engaged, by already having people that are connected with you, who trust you, you'll have a lot of goodwill rolling forward so that your reputation can kind of bolster you up and help you through what might be those hard times. An important part of maintaining your overall reputation in social media is governance. So we've all seen some of those things where the wrong person tweets out the wrong thing on the wrong channel. If you have a client or you're managing social media for a business, one of the first things that you need to do is make sure that you know exactly who has permission and who has physical ability, like they know the passwords to publish on all of your social media channels. Because having a really clear set of what those guidelines for your social media strategy are, what the tone of voice should be, when you should be responding to something, while that all is probably very clear to you, or it could be very clear to you, it might not be clear to the owner's cousin, who the owner of the company thinks they know everything about social media. They set up the account for them, and now they are going to be responding to things, or they're going to be sharing things that maybe aren't the same kind of things that you'd like to be sharing. So having a really clear line of approval and permission about when things post is very important. That can avoid a lot of security risks and problems, and it seems like it might be a little bit overbearing to do, especially if it's a small company, but it's key and it will avoid a lot of problems later down the road. In addition to governance, social media monitoring is key. I think that a long time ago, right, in the 1990s, the way that public relations and communications and branding sort of worked in the digital world, there was a fairly limited digital world. So brands really got to decide what the brand identity was. Through press releases, through advertisements, through events, they were the ones who defined exactly what people thought of the brand. Of course, people still talked about the brand, but there wasn't really a way that went beyond, the water cooler. With social media, that's obviously very different. Our brands are very much defined by what other people say about us. And it's important that you understand whether people are talking about you and what they might be saying about your brand. So Google Alerts is a great way to do this. It's a free way to do it. You can set up a Google Alert, and what I would recommend to start with is any of your products, the name of your company, maybe the owner of the company, if she has any other partners or anything that the owner's working with, whoever those stakeholders may be, set up alerts for them and for your competition, and that way you'll know right away. You'll get an email alert to let you know if something's going on, like, oh, everybody happens to love that our brand just had a big sale, or everyone is really mad because we closed our store down on 7th Street. Whatever it might be, you want to know about it first and be able to respond to that right away. So that monitoring is key to what you do. Also, you need to have a crisis plan. So nobody wants one of these examples like we're looking at here. You probably saw the United Breaks Guitars video, or this is an instance in which they didn't have good control over who had access to those accounts. So these things happen. And the thing is, nobody ever thinks it's going to happen to them because obviously you don't want to think about things that way. And so you might think that you have all the correct protections in place. You might think that you are never going to tweet something out as dumb as some of these other people have tweeted out, but it happens. No one ever thinks it's going to happen to them, but it does. So it's important that you have a crisis plan in place beforehand, because you don't want to be figuring that out. You come into work on Monday morning, something happened on Saturday that you weren't paying attention to, and now it's all over the place. So know who you have to call, know who has control of the accounts. If there's any communications or decisions that need to be made, make sure that those can be made really quickly so that you can respond to it as well as possible. So just have a clear plan so everyone knows what to do in the case of a crisis. So overall, we're going to govern our channels, make sure we know who has access. We're going to listen to what people are talking about when they're talking about us. We're going to engage from the beginning so we have a lot of goodwill with our audience. And finally, we're going to be ready when the stuff hits the fan and we have a crisis to respond to. So on our next video, we're going to talk about paid social promotion and how to get the content in front of as many eyes as possible. Thank you.